recap the best games of week 11 of college football. And it was a big game. It wasn't one of the best, but we're going to recap it anyways. Texas Tech got after Missouri, man.
Yep.
38-17. I think the proper word, just drubbing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there were a couple of moments where Missouri started to get things going, and you thought, okay, maybe they're going to make a run at this, and then A&M would just stomp it out. Like I thought the play of the game was that fake punt,
Yeah.
and I know they ended up getting just three out of it, right? But um, Missouri had just scored a touchdown, just got their first what looked like was going to be, I think, their first three and out of the game, and then A&M has a beautiful fake punt, takes them all the way down into the fringe red area, and they end up getting a field goal. And it just felt like that snuffed out maybe the last hope that Missouri had.
It was that play and then the play before half, right? Where Zollers got stripped and they return it to the one, and then A&M punches it in with EJ Smith. And it was one of those things where you go, okay, what's the one thing that can't happen if you're Missouri right here? And then it happened. And they felt like they were right there despite not being able to really complete forward passes.
Yeah.
But it was about to be 7-0 at halftime. And instead, in the blink of an eye, disaster strikes and it's 14-0. And with the way that Zollers was struggling in the passing game, that 14-0 deficit felt like 35-0 or like 42-0 to me.
Yep.
I even tweeted the second that happened, I was like, that'll do it in Columbia. I mean, it's over.
Yeah. It was crazy. And I was just went to the stats. A&M had two sacks. It felt like they had 100 sacks.
Uh,
I mean, every time he dropped back to pass, he was getting crushed, panic, scrambling around, trying to get rid of the football. Good coverage downfield. That was a really good defensive performance. And then, they started going to the run too late. They should have leaned on the foundation of what they do a little bit earlier, and maybe they could have stuck around.
I thought Marcel Reed played one of his, maybe his best game.
Yep.
And some people may disagree with that, but he just did what winning required. He didn't do anything crazy. He just managed the game. He knew that Missouri was struggling to move it offensively, and he said, "Okay, don't put the ball in harm's way. Take what this defense has given me." Worked a lot of the stuff underneath to his playmakers who, you get it to Craver and Concepcion underneath, those dudes can make things happen. But I thought he just did a good job of getting the ball to his playmakers. 20 of 29, 221, some touchdowns. Did some solid things with his legs, like just played a very boring, solid game for them at the quarterback position.
I totally agree. And I had the same thought watching the game. I was like, the best way I can sum it up is I thought Marcel Reed played, for what I've seen, his most mature football game. Trust it. Hand it. We're the better team. I don't need to do anything crazy. Hit the open guy, hand it off, make a couple of plays with your legs here and there. Just be smart and manage the football game. And a lot of times quarterbacks, uh, that is viewed as a negative, but in this instance, I thought it was one of maybe the best team in the country going in and just leaning on a team for 4 quarters, and it worked out just how they want it to.
That's how it felt. And I would have loved to see these two teams play with Pribula at quarterback for
Yeah.
Mizzou, because the moment just looked a little too big for Zollers. And I think he's going to be a good player. Like, I think he's a talented guy. I like his tools, but that pocket was caving in and that dude looked uncomfortable. You better have, you better break your tendencies in pass protection if you're playing Texas A&M. They know Elko is as good as there is in college football at knowing your protection rules and using them against you. I mean, how many times did A&M just have a free runner just smashing Zollers when he dropped back? And it was all scheme. Man, I
Yep.
heard Drinkwitz talk about it after the game. He was just like, man, he got us. They
Yep.
tried to adjust, and A&M adjusted to the adjustments. Like they were one step ahead with their pressure package stuff, and they're fantastic at it, man. But this game made me realize not only how important Prabula was as a passer for them, but Zollers brought nothing as a runner. And that's what made their rushing attack so dangerous was the threat of what
Yep.
Prabula can do with his legs. That just wasn't there.
Yep.
And I thought that it was a really solid performance from A&M kind of all around, Ted.
Yeah, and you know, it's crazy that Missouri got beat 38-17 and it didn't ever feel like it was all that close. And they had 200-yard rushers, and still rushed it for 207 against A&M. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they should have they should have really leaned on that way more early to protect Zollers, and it would have made for a probably a slower, more frustrating game. But I think you would have limited possessions for A&M, and like in the grand scheme of things, it probably wouldn't have mattered. But I think they could have kept it closer because they got it rolling in the second half with the running game.
Well, hopefully the people out there had Texas A&M as one of their battle bets. I think Cali born Sooner bred 24 is the leader at the end of week 11.
Okay.
Congratulations. I think the week's winner was Sawyer Johnson. So I think Sawyer Johnson won week 11, and then Cali born Sooner bred 24 claims the overall title. We'll let Battle Bets get in touch with those people. But
Awesome.
congratulations.
Big time.
That was a lot of fun, man. I hope that Battle Bets partners with us again because that was a lot of fun to do, and it was fun to watch the listeners get engaged with that.
We need a playoff version of that, I believe.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying?
all
Playoff
right, Battle
version.
Bets. Hey, let the people. Hey, let Battle Bets know that we want to do it for whether it's the rest of the season or just the college football playoff. Like we need to keep this thing going. So let
I
them know
agree.
on Twitter. You know,
Awesome.
I believe their handle is here. It is at BattleBets_app. BattleBets_app. Let them know that we want to keep this thing rolling, guys.
That's right.
All right, we touched on this earlier, but Texas Tech's a lot better than BYU, Ted.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
29-7. And it didn't feel that close.
No, I listened to a lot of it on the radio, watched a lot of it early, and then, it just, there was nothing there. Um, the front, the defensive front for Tech, you can tell is on a different level than anything that BYU has played, and they just really struggled. Bachmeyer was under a ton of pressure throughout the football game, and it's just what are you going to do? You're going on the road and you're playing up against someone that just has a lot more good players spread throughout their roster than you do. I thought they played hard, thought they showed good fight, but they just couldn't overcome the talent deficiency.
We talked about it in the preview to this game. The worst case scenario for BYU was their run game doesn't get going and Bachmeyer's got to drop back a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Tech executed their plan defensively at a very high level. They completely shut down BYU's rushing attack, which is the foundation of that offense. Cougs had 67 yards rushing on 27 attempts. LJ Martin playing banged up, but still a good player, 35 yards rushing.
Yeah.
I mean, just completely shut it down, and that put Bear Bachmeier in this offense in bad down and distance situations. That is not his strength currently. He had to throw it 38 times.
Yep.
That
Yep.
just was not going to be a winning formula for BYU. He ends up 23 of 38 for a touchdown, or for 188 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And I thought BYU would have trouble matching Tech's explosiveness. BYU's longest run of the day was 12 yards, and I think they had 3 plays total over 15 yards in the entire game.
Tough. Yep.
Just
And
not
weren't good
not
on
going to
third
win,
down.
not going to win against a good team in a crazy environment like that with that type of offensive output. Just not going to happen, man.
No, and you mentioned it. The lack of the run game ended up in a bunch in third and longs. 3 of 14 on third down. Not going to get it done. I will say though, I thought BYU's defense performed uh pretty good. They got after Bear Morton quite a bit. I think they had 4 sacks on the day. They created quite a bit of chaos in the pocket for them. They just, you know, it was slow going early, and Tech got up on the board and got a lead on them. And when they didn't have the running game, you don't have much else to do. You become one dimensional very quickly. And for a team that's not your strength to begin with, just found yourself in a tough hole to get out of.
BYU's defense, they gave up some explosive plays to Dickey and Williams, and credit to some of Tech's wide receivers just going up and making competitive plays on the ball
Mm-hmm.
for some of their explosives. But I thought BYU's defense played well enough to win. Like they forced 5 field goals.
Yep. 3 turnovers by your offense.
Yeah,
That's
and
hard to
Tech's
overcome.
not going to be pleased. Like they're not going to be pleased with their red zone execution in this game.
Yeah.
Kicking 5 field goals when you have more talent than the other team is not, that's like not where you want to be. And it leads me to one of my takeaways from this game. Tech is clearly the best team in the Big 12, but they are not good enough at quarterback to be a real factor in the playoff. Baron Morton, and he's banged up. It's obvious. It's clear that he's not anywhere close to 100%. And Will Hammond is gone with the knee injury now. I just don't think they are good enough at the quarterback position to truly compete in the college football playoff, especially when you consider some of the quarterbacks these other teams are going to have. It
And
just,
the and the and the defensive lines that they're going to face. I think that's one of the biggest um talent differences is the consistency that you see with the pass rush and the defensive line in the other conferences. You don't have nearly as many players. The guys that Tech have, that's what makes them stand out in the Big 12, and they would kind of get lost in the mix in the other at the top of the other conferences with their defensive line. They're good, don't get me wrong, but they don't have to play against those like talented defensive lines. And like I said, BYU was able to get after the quarterback. And you mentioned it with Bear Morton. When you step up to that next level, if you don't have transcendent quarterback play that can overcome those defensive lines, creating a bunch of chaos in the pocket, life can get very difficult.
this may not make sense, but it's how this is the conclusion I've come to in my mind is like Texas Tech is inverse OU when we were like the Lincoln Riley OU teams.
Yeah, makes sense.
They're legit on defense. Like David Bailey's legit. That guy's a top 10, top 15 pick. Jacob Rodriguez is one of the most productive players in college football. The guy just forces turnovers. It's unbelievable. Like that defense is legit. But I don't think they have enough offensively. So that's why I call them like inverse of the Lincoln Riley OU teams. We all know what those offenses were, but we just didn't have enough defensively.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's pointless to compare like this Tech defense to like the best version of a Baker Mayfield OU offense. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like they just feel like, to me, they've got one side of the ball that is playoff caliber, and the other side is just lacking. And it goes back to I just do not think they have the type of quarterback play that you need to go make some noise in the playoff.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the inverse Oklahoma thing was stupid, but it's okay. We'll move on.
I totally understand what you're saying, though.
The I will withhold judgment on Tech wearing those white Mahomes jerseys or whatever they are because they smashed their opponent. You can't criticize those. I don't know if those are big game jerseys or not, Ted, but if you dominate the game, I'm not going to say anything. But there's zero doubt in my mind. This should have been a red jersey versus a blue jersey game. It's obvious. It's right there for us to watch, guys. What are we doing?
Yeah, this is a little bit different for it was a big game with two top 10 teams going at it. Didn't feel that way watching it on television. Um, and also, I don't, I don't know if you don't have like a total recognizable brand and uniform, I'm okay if you stray a little bit from your usual, if that
That's
makes sense.
that's fair. And like the Mahomes factor, that that's a big deal for Tech. And it just
Yeah. You
I
got to
don't know. I
play to
guess it
what
was
you
a
can
day
play
game.
to.
Like if it was a night game, that it should have been like a blackout. It should have been scary there. But I don't know. The all white, it's fine. It's fine. It's Tech. I'm not. It's not like it's OU or Bama or one of these teams that has a
It is Tech.
historically.
Was it Georgia Tech or was it Texas Tech?
I'm not sure.
Pretty similar to Georgia Tech look they had going on there.
Just the all whites, baby. But
All
hey,
whites with like that. What color was that outlining? Was that
I,
gold or
let's let's not dive too deep into this. They
okay?
won and they were dominant. So credit to Tech and getting the job done in the Mahomes jerseys. Good win.
Fair point.
Very solid win. All right, last game. LSU Alabama. This was an interesting game, right? Final
Yep.
scores 20-9. What'd you think of this one?
It felt totally one-sided. It didn't feel like LSU was ever much threat, especially in the second half to get their way back into the football game. Um, I thought Alabama was going to break it open, but it just never really happened. But I feel like they dominated the whole game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, and I didn't think Bama played particularly well, especially in the second half. And LSU's got a solid defense. There's no doubt about it. But with how much LSU was struggling offensively, it just felt like the margin of victory should have been bigger.
Yeah.
It was it was a tough watch when LSU had the ball on offense.
Yep.
I mean, it got to the point where Garrett Nussmeier runs into a sack. One of the crazier things I've ever seen from a quarterback. Like there is this giant space for him to step up into the pocket. And instead he bails out and to the left and runs into the guy's arms. It's just crazy. But they pull him. Like the interim coach was like, I've seen enough. Get out. And they put Van Buren in. And to Van Buren's credit, like he had a couple throws where he went, whoa.
Yeah.
But this game was just so disjointed for LSU offensively. And even though it felt like Bama was in complete control, all of a sudden you looked up, it's an 8-point game and LSU's got the ball and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And Trey'Dez Green drops that easy first down that may have gotten that drive going. You're just like, how did we get here? But I think the thing that stood out to me, Ted, Ty Simpson felt like he was under the most pressure he's been under this season. LSU, they got to some pressure package stuff and they disrupted him in the pocket as much as I've seen anyone disrupt him this season.
Yeah. And Alabama continues to be really bad running the football, which, looking forward to next week, I think is something that we've got to be able to build on with our defense as good as we've been stopping the run and continue to put them. I mean, Alabama's a really good football team, but they're not immune to the same things that everyone else is immune to. You put them in third and long and put their quarterback under stress. I mean, they won the game and they were 4 of 13 on third down. I mean, not great. And I know LSU has a good defense. I think that we are every bit as good and probably quite a bit better, at least in my mind. So I think that I mean, I didn't come away feeling like, oh boy, that's an unbeatable football team. I mean, an LSU team that has really struggled, can't run the ball, can't protect their quarterback very well. I mean, it really looked like the same formula. It didn't look like Alabama is just that much better than everyone else they've played. It just kind of looked like the same issues that they've had continued to show up and the same, like, similar result. I mean, you talked about the second half became hard to watch. Listen to this drive chart for both teams. LSU field goal to make it 17-6. Alabama, 6 plays, punt. LSU, 6 plays, punt. Alabama, 6 plays, fumble. LSU, field goal. Alabama, punt. LSU, punt. Alabama, field goal. LSU, fumble. It was just like nothing in the second half except for slowly watching the clock tick down to 0.
It was, I'm always excited to watch these two teams play each other because of the talent I know that's going to be on the field. But I watched every snap of this second half, and I kind of was sitting there going, ugh. It was just a weird game, man. And I think the big difference in the game was Bama's ability to create explosives in the passing game.
Yep.
Well, I thought Tyson, and it was mainly in the first half because Ty Simpson, he missed some throws in the third quarter that he typically does not miss. And if he connects on those, this game looks a lot different, probably from a final score perspective. But that first half, it was 4 completions over 30 yards.
Yeah.
Couple beautiful throws from him. And it kind of felt like that was the difference in the game because neither team could run it. We saw some field goals. I don't know, man. This was just it was not an exhilarating game to watch.
It wasn't. Atmosphere looked great.
Yeah. Can't wait to experience it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, same.
But
I'm with you though. Ty Simpson, man, he threw, was it Brooks that caught that early deep ball in traffic?
Gosh.
That I was like, son, come here. You got to watch this.
Just drops it in the bucket. I mean, if Ty Simpson has time, he will cook you.
Yeah.
It has been proven. But we did see LSU affect him in the pocket. Like the one that he fumbles, he has some of the best pocket awareness that I've seen in a long, long time from a college quarterback. And he can't expect Jam Miller to hold on that long in pass protection. And the guy just slaps the ball out of his hands. Yeah. Like that's an uncharacteristic mistake. And I think that pressure that LSU was able to produce with some of their blitz packages, I think that got to him. And he missed a lot of throws he normally doesn't miss in that second half.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was, I don't know. Result kind of ended up being where everyone thought it was going to be, or most people thought it was going to be. But, I didn't come out of there saying, well, we know how hard it's going to be to go beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, right? But what you saw on the field, at least for me, had me coming away saying, matchup maybe not be all that bad.
I think if you're an OU fan and you watched every snap of that game, you probably came away going, it ain't going to be easy, but we can go beat that team.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Now you got to go play well. Can't have any blunders. You got to check all the boxes on the keys that we went through earlier, Ted. But there's no doubt OU is more than capable of going and beating Alabama.
Yep. And speaking of blunders, did Nussmeier just drop that football?
That was the other guy. That was Van Buren.
Oh, was that Van Buren?
Yeah.
Did he just drop it?
He just dropped it. Yeah.
Because the guy whiffed and did he hit his own leg with? That was weird.
Ball just came right out of his hand because
I had Missouri flashbacks from last year.
Oh boy. Being an LSU fan has to be incredibly painful this year. They were supposed to be awesome on offense. and their offense is the glaring weakness of the football team. And
Yep.
I don't know if I can recall a quarterback stock plummeted more than Nussmeier's. My goodness.
Yep. I don't know. It's been ugly. Been ugly. The only other thing I had that I thought was interesting was I thought Van Buren looked like Jordan Evans playing quarterback in his helmet. That's who he looked like to me.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and look at that.
That's it. Just small little note.
Yeah. Jordan Evans shout out. I love it. Great dude.
Not nearly as big though. Jordan Evans continues to grow. He gets bigger every time I see him.
Oh, hey.
Hell of a
Be
football player.